Wanna feel old? The Melancholy of HaruhiSuzumiya was released in 2006. Ouch. Ah yes, the anime that defined a generation, I guess. Or at least the anime that helped define the fandom that surrounds the entire anime industry to this very day. It's hard to understand just how big the Melancholy of HaruhiSuzumiya was if you weren't there to experience it yourself firsthand, but that's exactly what we're going to delve into today. During Haruhi Mania, you could not escape this anime girl and her friends if you so much as looked at a computer in America, and in Japan, things were so off the rails that fans were causing panic in the streets. Yeah, for a short time there, it felt like this anime was the only thing that mattered ever. Because, say what you want to about the show itself, but it's impossible to deny the fact that the Melancholy of HaruhiSuzumiya was big in America. Now, I am very aware that this show was beyond gigantic in Japan as well, but today we're going to concentrate a little bit more on the American side of the fandom explosion that took over the entire anime world there for just a little while. However, the Japanese side of things will come into play as well, of course, because everything that happened in America was contingent on what was happening in Japan just a little bit beforehand or even at the same time, since this anime was one of the first ones to have its moment in America mostly in real time with Japan. And while this wasn't the first anime to gain steam thanks to the internet, it was certainly the first show to get as big as it did as quickly as it did thanks to all the advancements that were happening at the time on the World Wide Web. And as a result, it was the first anime to do, well, a lot of stuff, at least from a fandom perspective. Of course, before we start to really look at all the chaos this show caused, what was it even about? Well, Haruhi is your typical anime girl who befriends Kion, who's your typical anime boy. The show looks like pretty much any anime at first, but soon you learn that Haruhi wants and needs control everything in the world because, of course, she is a god. Ah, anime. And she doesn't know this herself, but everyone around her, at least in her immediate friend group, is all too aware of it. So Haruhi forms a tiny little club at the school called the SOS Brigade with all of these friends, and from here the show pretty much just follows their adventures as they try to keep Haruhi from being bored. Even though this show seems quite simple on the surface, it does explore a lot of ideas related to the meaning of life, looking for change in yourself, and what it really means to actually be alive. Or at least that's what a lot of weebs believe. Maybe it's just a silly little show about an anime girl on her escapades. Who really knows? So basically, it's one of those shows that you can pull some deep meaning out of, or you can just enjoy it at surface level. The anime works in both ways, and that's part of what made this thing such a big phenomenon to begin with. Speaking of which, yeah, it might sound like a basic anime from the description, but the otaku world and beyond reacted in a very not basic way to this one. While the internet wasn't a brand new thing by any means in 2006, YouTube was new, and it was starved for content. So Haruhi decided that she wanted to be the first anime girl to take over the entire platform, and that's what she did. I feel like this is where Haruhi Mania really started to become a thing, kind of like Beatles Mania, only with better music this time. Clips from this show spread like crazy on YouTube, helping the newly emerging meme culture really become what it is these days, but at the time, it was brand new. People who had no idea what anime even was knew who this laughing schoolgirl was thanks to the video platform that was soon going to be the largest streaming platform in the world. Of course, there were still normal image memes as well, but the video clips are what really contributed to this show's dominance over the entire internet. And past the clips and memes, something very new started to emerge from the show as well. Dance covers. The closing sequence for the anime featured the cast dancing to the catchy J-pop banger Hari Hari Yukai at the end of every episode. So naturally, weebs all over the world thought they could do the same dance, and these videos started to appear all over the internet and YouTube. Seriously, you could not escape these things at the time. You could be minding your own business, watching something wholesome on YouTube like a Gigi Allen live clip, and then all of a sudden in your suggested feed, another one of these things would appear. They were everywhere. That's right, Haruhi danced so that TikTokers could dance some more, I guess. So basically, the entire K-pop on the line space owes a big thanks to this anime, whether they know it or not. And no matter how many of these awkward things came out of America, it doesn't even start to compare to how intense the love for this song and dance got in Japan. The dance covers themselves spread all over Nico Nico Doga, a Japanese video streaming site. But they also started to spread into the streets of Japan, quite literally. The streets of Akihabara in Tokyo, Japan were absolutely bombarded by this song, dance routine, and cosplayers. In America, most of the live in-person performances of this golden great were limited to anime cons, but in Japan, things were just different. Because even past Akihabara, aka the home of the otaku, they could really happen anywhere at any time in Japan, so people were watching their backs 24/7, just in case an otaku dance party was to break out somewhere like a dental appointment or a court hearing. So if you were in America during these Haruhi dance invasion attacks, consider yourself lucky. I hear that there are still people in Japan to this very day that have PTSD about these experiences, so always remember them in your thoughts and prayers. Nowadays, it's impossible to quantify just how many of these dance cover and meme videos ever existed online because funny thing happens over 2 decades of fandom. Videos get taken down, accounts get deleted, and people get embarrassed over the past. While it's true that nothing ever truly dies online, I can't imagine how long it would take to really catalog all of these videos, and more importantly, why would you want to do all that? If you weren't there, you just missed out, and sometimes that's okay. And let's not forget that Haruhi was the queen of anime music videos, or simply put, AMVs, for quite a while there as well. Anytime that you stumbled across an AMV contest at a con, or ended up on one of those dark corners of the internet, Haruhi was sure to appear. A lot. And I mean, it does make sense in many ways since there are scenes of the characters performing in the show. Couple that with the fact that Haruhi herself wore a bunny outfit for these legendary performances, and you have a recipe for every otaku in the world to fall in love immediately. And the fans weren't the only ones contributing to this massive takeover of the entire internet either, because the creators of the show understood the internet and the culture that was being built around the show on its own, and they leaned into it hard. And luckily, since this was all taking place online, it was easier than ever to experience everything in real time, even if you were in America and even if there was a language barrier. For example, these crazy creators of this anime made a website for the SOS Brigade, the club that all the friends are part of in the anime itself. And this website is the exact same as the one that the kids make in the show, jankiness and all. And as of now, the website is still around. Wow, talk about commitment to a bit. And by the time the second season rolled around, they even released just over 20 minutes of fake surveillance footage of school kids breaking into a school just to tease an episode with that as part of the plot. Yes, obviously these anime characters were becoming real and breaking into a school. Someone alert the authorities! It really did make it seem like the Haruhi gang were real people, which I guess is fair since Haruhi is a god and all. And, you know, you can't be an atheist if you're watching this show because you love Haruhi, so you do love her as a god, right? I don't know. I'm sure somebody has theorized that somewhere, so we'll just go with that. Yep, this anime was starting to blur the lines between the anime world and the real world, and nowhere was that more apparent than with Haruhi's voice actress herself, Aya Hirano. She quickly crossed over into the mainstream media in Japan herself as an idol voice actress. Some even say the first true idol voice actress. She was so popular that even the weebs in America actively knew who she was. While American fans have always cared about the voice actresses, at least to a degree, this was different. American fans were in love with her just as much as the Japanese fans, and while this has become way more common in recent years, especially with anime series based around actual idol characters, this was a huge thing at the time. Of course, Aya's new celebrity status helped her get involved in a lot of other big anime projects like Death Note and Lucky Star. And naturally, she released some music along the way of her own, which isn't exactly new for voice talent in Japan, but on a personal note, this was the first time I remember listening to a J-pop album, specifically because of the seiyuu involved. And yeah, Riot Girl is an amazing album, go check it out. While she had worked in the anime industry prior to Haruhi, this is the role that made her entire career. She was the it girl in the anime industry for quite a while there, and here at Kimchi no Video, we will always love her, all day, every day. So I know what you're thinking to yourself, Haruhi was plainly everywhere. But you know where she wasn't yet? At least legally? America. Yep, while the US was experiencing a lot of this madness in mostly real time thanks to the internet, the actual show was not here yet. You have to remember, it was 2006. While anime was coming to America faster than ever at the time, the first DVD release of this series wouldn't actually land over here until midway through 2007, over a year after its initial release in Japan. So how were the otaku of America experiencing this amazing anime that was better than the Mona Lisa at the time? Fan subs. Wait, you don't know what a fan sub is? Oh boy, well, here's a quick crash course. They are exactly what they sound like, fan-made and distributed subtitles for shows that have not quite reached America yet. These fan projects were way more common in the old days since it took quite a while for anime to see the light of day in America, and many shows were skipped over altogether. And while they are still around to this very day, mostly for older shows that don't stand a chance of being released in America ever, all of the bigger franchises are released so quickly via all of the various streaming platforms that the fansub scene just isn't exactly what it used to be. While fansubs had been around since the VHS days, the advancements in technology were making it easier to produce these things and quicker to distribute them than ever. Gone were the days of trading tapes with other fans or buying them in the back of a shady comic book store. Fansubs were getting in the hands of, well, fans quicker than ever thanks to various file sharing programs online, and as a result, it felt like one of the first times that American otaku and Japanese otaku were experiencing a phenomenon at roughly the same time, and that was exciting in 2006. These days, some people get mad if they have to wait any amount of time after the original Japanese broadcast to watch the latest seasonal anime. But back in this time period, it was truly starting to feel like Christmas was happening all the time, and Santa Senpai was delivering you episodes of Haruhi in a very timely fashion. You didn't have to wait a year, you didn't have to wait 6 months, you were getting these things quick, and that was amazing. And as a result of this lightning fast distribution in America, legal or not, it really did build the hype for this show very, very fast. Many anime professionals have said in the past that fan subculture was oftentimes used as a barometer to see how well a franchise could do in America, since luckily, at least during that time, fans liked supporting the official releases as soon as they were available. Luckily, Bandai knew this, so they jumped on the opportunity to release this series as quickly as possible in the US. So in December of 2006, similar to the original release, they used the internet in a very forward-thinking way, at the time at least, to announce the American release of this show. A brand new website for the American version of the SOS Brigade was founded, and it was called the ASOS Brigade. They added an A for America, of course, and through this site they released a live-action video featuring a combination of some of the Japanese cast and American cast in full-on cosplay, announcing the license of the American release of Haruhi. And of course, in typical Haruhi fashion, even though this video was intended to promote the American release of the show, the Japanese parts of the video had no subtitles, at least originally, thus adding to the confusion that this franchise loved to create at this point. However, soon enough subtitles were added, but you gotta love this move that was true genius considering everything else that this franchise had done up to this point to market itself. On top of that, the video looks very low quality and kind of like something that fans would make for a school project, which was another stroke of genius from the marketing team, and funny enough, another time that they were looking forward to the future when tons of content on various online platforms would be very amateur. Wow, another time they were the first to the party on something. And of course, one of the biggest questions that came with the announcement had to be, what order would the episodes appear on the DVDs in? Oh yeah, we haven't even touched on that yet, have we? Well, here's the thing. This anime was shown out of order in its original TV broadcast. Yeah, they were trying to drive people crazy, weren't they? Okay, so this show might not be as story-driven as something like Gundam or Monster, but it certainly has a story with character development, so watching it in order seems optimal, right? Many people have strong opinions to this day as to what order you should be watching the show in, because of course they do, but we're not going down that rabbit hole here today at all. What we are going to look at today is how this show was released in America. Because you could buy the regular release of this anime that featured the episodes in chronological order. If you were a fool, or for double the price, you could buy a limited edition release that featured extra physical goods along with a second DVD that featured the episodes in broadcast order. And at the time, it was rare for anime to get these types of extravagant releases in America, so yet again, this little anime was setting the tone for the entire industry and future releases. Luckily, despite the hefty price tag, at least for the limited edition versions, the official release of Haruhi in America only grew the fan base. Seriously, by 2007, you couldn't go to an anime con without seeing the cosplays everywhere, the dances on every corner, and toys sticking out of every bag of merch that came from the dealer's room. It was a lot, and nowhere was that more apparent than at the biggest anime con in the country, Anime Expo. Yes, at Anime Expo 2007, the Japanese voice actresses for the 3 main girls appeared at the con as part of the SOS Brigade Invasion Tour. The girls judged the dance contest on Friday night because, of course, there was a dance contest, and then they performed themselves on Saturday. Wow, it was like the characters were real and in person, because they were. Ah, yes, Haruhi Mania was bigger than ever in America. By 2008, the anime started to settle into a more normal level of fandom in the US. But being the biggest anime in the entire country for about a year and a half is nothing to scoff at. On top of that, Haruhi just influenced so much of what we consider normal anime fandom culture these days. Memes, short clips going viral online, parasocial relationships with voice actresses that will never even know who you are, crazy marketing techniques, and of course the things it did that even stretched beyond the anime world, like dance cover videos. Haruhi was ahead of its time in so many ways, but it feels like many people don't give it the credit that it deserves these days. Sure, most will admit that it was a great show, but it really did so much for the fandom. I would even argue that it's one of the most influential anime franchises of all time, at least from a fandom perspective. Even if you're not a huge fan of this anime yourself, it's hard to deny everything it really did for the scene. Plus, again, even if it's not your favorite, you probably do love a show that it influenced because it influenced so many types of anime that came after it. Yeah, it really did change the game. And you want to hear something crazy? There's so much more that we could cover related to this anime, like the fact that it brought visual novel adaptations to the mainstream, or its influence on the Moe Revolution, or how it started a winning streak that seemed like it would never stop for Kyoto Animation, or the whole Endless 8 fiasco, or how about the fact that the movie is pretty much a masterpiece in and of itself. But I'm not trying to be here for 12 hours or anything. Is this my favorite anime of all time? No, but it's certainly high on the list, and it's a lot of people's favorite anime of all time, and I get it because it's great. If you've somehow sat through all of this and you've never watched it, I implore you to give it a chance. If it was only important to the culture and fandom, that would be one thing, but this is a truly amazing anime to this day. And for those that have experienced everything the franchise has to offer, I know that you already know that. So in conclusion, yeah, Haruhi was big in America, and I'm glad that she was. These days, it's pretty normal for an average show to make its way to the top, but Haruhi deserved everything she got. So go watch her show. Don't make Haruhi sad. Bad things happen when she's sad. She is a god after all. Remember?